All right. Well, let me just say hello at the beginning. I am Jeff Hutchison with International Association. It's been a long week. I will talk more about that in just a minute. But thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And before we get too far in, I've got to do a huge shout out and a thank you to Margarita Machado Casas, who is the president of NABE. Margarita, please say hello to everyone.
Hi, everybody. We're so excited to have you here. We're so excited to have this collaboration and to advocate for all of our students and teachers across the United States. Thank you, Jeff, for the collaboration, and we're really happy to be able to do this.
Well, thank you, Margarita. Thank you for Margarita's out on the West Coast side. It's probably just early in the afternoon for you, so thank you for taking your time out of the afternoon. I put this at 5 o'clock in Eastern because I realize that we're navigating so many time zones and it's a little difficult there. Natalia, I believe you're where are you, Natalia?
Sorry, I'm in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay, I thought it was up there. So I was going to say Illinois, but I didn't think it was quite it. So Wisconsin up near there. And Rick, where are you located?
I'm in San Diego. I work with Margarita at San Diego State University.
Oh, okay. So y'all could have just sat together, but you're here. All right, all right. I love it. I love it. Oh me. I also love San Diego. It's just a little paradise out there. And Alan's iPhone there. Alan,
Yeah, hi. I'm actually in DC.
you're in DC. Wonderful. So it's local for
Yeah.
you. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And Flores, I don't know who that is, but where are you from?
I'm actually just taking us for Dr. Marita Machado. I work for her, San Diego.
Okay. Wonderful. We're glad to have you. Glad to have you with us. We are. We're. I'll just be forthright at the beginning. We were a little late in advertising this year. Last year we had about 60 people, but with NABE joining this year, we're hopeful we'll get a lot more. We are doing an extra push. So Alan, there's in DC. We're going to be doing an extra push for the DMV area. And for those of you who don't know, when we say DMV, that is not Department of Motor Vehicles, but it is the District, Maryland, and Virginia. I made that mistake when I first started. They referenced the DMV, and I said, "What does DMV have to do with anything?" But it was all about the area there. So we'll be doing. Hopefully, we'll have a local push there. We hope to be up to about 70, perhaps even 100 people with us here at the end of June for that. And I will preface before we jump in, it has already been a long week. I have not had the opportunity yet to watch the committee meeting that was today. Secretary of Education was before the Education and Workforce Committee. I'll be watching that tonight. You can pray for me as I watch that tonight. But we also I had the opportunity yesterday. I was in DC with some other associations. We were also advocating specifically for adult education. TESOL International Association serves English language educators at all levels. And I think it's very important to look holistically at the population that we serve. I know that we are very keen and very focused on the Office of English Language Acquisition and Title III English Language Acquisition that is the large part of the public education funding serving English learners. But I think as we look at English learners across all levels, it is vital that we look at this as an intergenerational issue. We want to make sure the families are engaged in this process as well. So we kind of have our footprint all over. To today's webinar, I'm going to try to be as brief as possible, but if you've got a question, please let me know. It's just to kind of give you an idea, concept of some of the logistics that we're looking at and where we're going to be, what we're going to be talking about as we go through. So let me pop on. Oh, Alyssa, hey, got the Illinois in the house there. All right, how are you today? Uh,
Good. Thank you so much. I'm
that's
excited for
good.
this year and ready to work.
Well, it is a lot of work. And just so you know, just so all of you know, we are going to be putting out a grassroots campaign starting next week, leading up to the advocacy days where we'll have face to face. We are kind of in between on the appropriations of the House and the Senate. The House is actually going to do their appropriations for education June 5th and June 9th. So the House they're actually engaged right now in discussions. So we're going to do a grassroots campaign, and so if you are, we're going to push that out through our media channels. Margarita, please push that out as well. And Margarita, I'll be happy to make one specifically branded for NABE. So if you want to push that out, we'll be happy to do that as well. To target the House appropriations in this discussion, I've been sending some emails to them as well. During the advocacy days, we will also target the House, but we're definitely going to target the Senate because the Senate has not yet set their schedule for when they're going to talk about appropriations for education. So it is a combination of we get to be in their face, knocking on the door, advocating, raising our voices, raising the voices of the learners we serve. But we also are going to bring in a larger population in the sense that we're going to have opportunity for people to take action on their computer, just a few clicks to send their voice and make it known. And that's some of the things that I've been working on today. I know Margarita's been working on them as well. In addition, there was the Unidos US put out a media briefing yesterday talking about the importance of the Office of English Language Acquisition. Then there's also another letter being circulated by Democratic senators. Just came out. Margarita, I don't know if you saw the email from Lena at Unidos that
Yes, I did.
in support of the Office of English Language Acquisition. Now, if you're out there and you say, Jeff, what is he talking about? I have no idea what he's talking about. The Department of Education, back in February, kind of under the radar, decided to tell Congress, give them a 90-day notice that we are going to dissolve the Office of English Language Acquisition. Well, that 90 days is today, May 14th. So we have a lot of questions, not just we as associations, but education departments as well as congressional members of how the Department of Education will continue to carry out its statutory responsibilities in serving English learners. So we'll share more about that. We'll go a little bit deeper into that as we get closer. I'm sorry, I'm giving you more than just an orientation, but a lot's been happening this week, and I think it's good for you to be briefed, for you to have at least a heads up on some of the things going on. So let me get my share here. Yeah, I'll find my share, and I'm going to share this. Yeah, here it is. There we go. My PowerPoint is up and ready. All right. So first of all, this is the first year that TESOL and NABE have come together for our advocacy days. So we're very happy for that. We began the advocacy days in 2006. I didn't even realize that, Margarita, but that was if I had realized that this was our 20th year anniversary, I would change the whole promotional scheme. But 20 years,
a party.
yeah, got to throw a party. Got to throw a party with that. So very happy to be able to do this once again, and I think it is vital that we do this. I will just preface this because you're going to hear me say this a lot, not just today, but also in the lead up, and then especially as we are in the midst of the public policy updates and the Hill visits. Many people out there are kind of throwing up their hands. What can I do? The administration seems to be steamrolling this through, moving education to the states, deprioritizing support for English learners, support for educators. Title III has a lot of support for educators and professional learning, paraprofessionals. Also in that is a devaluing of Title IIA, which is building teacher pipelines. That's a little over a $2 billion appropriation site that's being basically diminished in that process. And so a lot of people are just kind of throwing up their hands, but I will tell you, your voice matters. We may not win. We may not get the success we want, but I guarantee you that if our voices are not there, we will not get anything. So our voices are vital in this process. I have spoken to so many legislators, especially the staffers, who kind of look at each other and say, or not look at each other, look at me, and they say, we don't understand. This used to be a bipartisan issue. And now we're in a political climate where it is not, in which there is a huge shift to the states, also a devaluing and deprioritization of English learners. Okay, enough of my soapbox. Let me get to the points. Here we go. All right. So our advocacy days are the 22nd to the 24th. And we're going to talk about some things that you need to know in preparation for the days. I love this picture up here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's Senator Warren. I always like to post these pictures out because when we're walking around the halls of the offices, the Senate offices and the House offices, you never know who you're going to run into. And Alyssa, who was it? Was it Gina that ran into Cory Booker in the elevator last year? Had a picture. I can't remember
It
who
was
all.
both of us. We were actually riding the train, I think, to the other side, and Cory Booker. We got a picture with him.
Okay. All right. So even in the midst of the work that you are doing and raising your voices, there will be opportunities to have your, run into people in the hallway, take a picture, put it on your social media, be part of it. That's part of the excitement of being up on the Hill. So we'll talk a little bit about, well, I've already given the welcome. We've already done that. We'll talk about the overview, what is advocacy briefly, and then the purpose, and then the logistics of getting ready for the visits. So let's just jump right in. For those traveling in, Alan, you're in DC, so you don't have to worry about this. But we reserve Monday night to have an informal reception. We're still working on the details, but we will be most likely in the Alexandria, Virginia area. That's where the TESOL offices are located. So we like to keep things there. We are not seeking to have hotel blocks. We found a couple of years ago that people actually liked getting a hotel wherever they wanted or an Airbnb wherever they wanted. The wonderful thing about DC with the metro, in just a few minutes you can be in the Hill Visit or in the near the Capitol where the Senate offices and the House offices are. A matter of fact, from the offices of TESOL in Alexandria, it takes about 25 minutes on a metro, which costs about $4, and you're in an office building for that. So that gives you flexibility. Some people come in with friends, they come together. I do that often as well. So we consider the 22nd a travel day. As soon as we have the venue set up for the reception, we'll let you know when that is. But we're planning to have that between 6 and 7:30. Then, we can gather together, and if people want to get out and go out to dinner afterwards, that they can do that. So there'll be a reception. We may actually have that in the TESOL offices. We'll see how that goes. If we have what I hope of 100 people, we can't have it in the TESOL offices. There's not enough space. But we'll see what we wind up with. Tuesday is a day of work. I'll let you know that ahead of time. That is our policy updates. We will look at the federal landscape of that impacts English language teaching, bilingual education, the English learners that we serve. And we will look at this from all levels. We will have special presentations focused upon K through 12. We have confirmed with us, if you are familiar with Unidos US, we have Lena Linus, who is a policy analyst, as well as Julie Sugarman with Migration Policy Institute, which I always lift up Julie. Julie is an encyclopedia when it comes to Title III and federal relations. So Margarita, I would hope that you would agree with that. Julie is just a dynamo in that. And Lena, when it comes to policy, being able to interact with the policy influencers, the legislators, excuse me. She can navigate her way around, and she herself, I think, was a staffer on the Hill, so she knows the ins and outs on that. We'll also have for adult education, if you are focused on adult education and serving in that arena, we have Jake Hofstetter from Migration Policy Institute. Matter of fact, he said, Migration Policy Institute, if you do not follow them, I would encourage you to do that. They have some valuable information that they put out in relation to education, immigration, education. And just recently, Jake had authored a white paper on the impact of the threats to adult education at the federal level. Because it is very complicated. It's not just a matter of federal money. Federal money is also tied to state money. And when we look at adult education across the United States, this is where I talk about intergenerational. You know, we're talking about the families that we're serving. 60% of the participants in government-funded adult education programs are English learners. So it is vital there for that. And then lastly, we will also have higher education with Diego Sanchez from the President's Alliance for Higher Education and Immigration. And we'll have some panel discussions that talk about some of the immigration implications, impact, as well as the Department of Education and educational access there. So just making sure that you have the information and resources you need, not just for your Hill visits on Wednesday, but just really what you can be able to soak in and take back to your areas. Because this is really the key. What we do on the Hill is important, but what you do in your area, advocating, bringing people together, bringing your coalitions together is even more important. And then on the 24th, I'm sorry, on the 23rd, I just found out that Montserrat, I think I mentioned this before, Montserrat Garibay is going to be speaking with us, former director of the Office of English Language Acquisition. And I don't know, fingers crossed, soon to be elected to the state level in Texas. She's campaigning hard for that, so we can give her our love in that regard. And then on the 24th, this is where you get to go up onto the Hill. You knock on doors. You let people know what what the issues are. Now, a little caveat as we go into this, I'll be saying this a little bit later. I just gave you a lot of issues, a lot of areas from pre-K through 12, adult, higher, immigration. You know, we didn't even talk about newcomers. We're working on that as well. And he said, Jeff, I don't know all this. That's fine. We're not asking you to take every issue to your congressperson. We're not asking you to take every issue to your senator. We're asking you to focus in on the issues that matter in your space. So if you're someone that was an English language program specialist or fellow out of ECA, we'll talk about appropriations for that. If you are a elementary, secondary education teacher working, that are dependent upon Title III, you'll be talking about that. If you are an adult educator working in that space, if you are talking about grants, you have opportunity. You will have specific asks for you in that. So don't worry if you don't know everything. I hope I don't scare people away. Say, oh, Jeff, I don't know everything. That's fine. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know the one thing. That one thing is what you do. Because it is your voice that you're bringing, and it matters there. Right. I just gave you the full slide. My apologies. I should have forwarded the slide there, but I gave you a little bit about what we're doing on the 23rd. And we will be in. We just signed the contract. We're going to be at the Hilton. In Alexandria, Virginia. The Hilton is right down next to the metro station. If you're familiar with that area of Alexandria, it's the yellow and blue line in Alexandria, Virginia, just south of the Reagan National Airport, DCA. So that's where we'll be for that. We have space there. What I did not say is that we also prepare you for their visits. So we will be hearing from congressional staffers who will come in, and you can ask them anything. I think one thing you will find is when you meet the congressional staffers, for the most part, congressional staffers are, they're either fresh out of college, or sometimes they're even still in college. And these individuals play a vital and important role in our government. They are responsible for specific areas in order to inform their boss, whether it's a representative or a senator. It's our job to inform them about our areas because they're not experts. Sometimes they're not experts on education. Sometimes you might find that they might come from a family of educators, or maybe they have studied, outside the United States. Maybe they're multilingual, etc. But you are the expert being able to provide them the information that's vital to them, and then they are able to take that to their boss as part of the process. So we'll hear from staffers, and we will also have the opportunity to do a workshop. We're going to make you go role play. You're going to be able to role play and go through what it is to make your asks and say, okay, I got 15 minutes. How can I get that ask across? What can I do with that? So that will be the June 23rd policy update. It is a full day of work. And that evening we'll have another dinner for everyone. Right now, we are looking at the Center for Applied Linguistics as a sponsor for that dinner. So we're very excited to have them once again. They sponsored this event for 3 years in a row now for that. So if you've been before, you know Cal. If you know Zip, the executive director over there, they are staunch supporters of what we do. So it's good to have Cal being supportive of this. They themselves can't go to the Hill or do advocacy, but they can support what we do. So very happy to have them with us. On June 24th, we will go to the Hill. And let's see, can I do, yeah, I can do, let me see if I can do this. Let me do a pin here. I think I can do this. All right. So when you have visits, is it working? How do we do it? Maybe not. Okay. I thought maybe I could write on this. I guess I can't. But when we go to the Hill, if you see the part in the middle there, that's the U.S. Capitol. And if you go above that or north of that, you will see what says the Russell Senate Office Building, the Dirksen Senate Office Building, and the Hart Senate Office Building. Those three buildings are where you will meet with your senators. So you'll be able to go through. When you go through, you go through just like you're going through security at an airport. Fortunately, you don't have to take off your shoes, but you go in. You'll be able to go to your senator's office, have your meeting, and if you have one senator in, let's say, for example, you have a senator in Hart, and then you have another senator in Russell. What's wonderful about these buildings is you never have to go outside. You can take a tunnel underneath to each one, so you don't have to go outside. Same thing if you look at the U.S. Capitol and go south. You have three buildings here: the Rayburn, Longworth, and Cannon. Again, all three of these are connected by a tunnel. And if you are someone who likes to travel to DC and say, "Hey, I want a memento," there is a gift shop in Longworth, and there's also a gift shop in Dirksen. So if you want to get a little memento, you can go to the gift shops there as well. There's also cafeterias in that. But your meetings with your representatives will be down south of the U.S. Capitol. Your meetings with your senators will be north of the U.S. Capitol. Okay? All right. And so for the Hill visits, and we will be talking more about this when we are actually in DC. So if you say, Jeff, I don't quite get all of it now, don't worry. We'll be walking you through that. The main thing is that you need plan time for your visits. Let me go back for a second. I'm going to talk about how you set up those visits in just a minute. But if you are working with your representative's office and they say, I can meet with you at 10 o'clock, and then your senator says, I can meet with you at 10:30, that might be a problem because it's going to take you about 10 to 15 minutes to walk from these two. So you might want to make sure that you have, especially if you have meetings where you go from the Senate to the House or the House to the Senate, you need to factor in about 10 to 15 minutes of walk time between those. If you're on the same side, not a problem. It's easy, a 3-minute walk and you get to the next office. So that's what I mean when I say plan time for making appointments in that. Make sure that you're setting aside and planning that carefully with that. Review background information in advance. There's two pieces of information that you'll need to review. One of them is the documentation that we will send you that will have background information on all of the asks that you'll be bringing. So we'll have information on appropriations. We'll have information on legislation. And we will have these nice little leave behinds for you so that you can leave them with your representative or your senator's office for that. The other part of this information is what you need to do for, getting to know your representative, getting to know your senator. What was the last press release they have? What are their interests? If they are, for example, I'll give you an example here of, I live in Pennsylvania and I have both a Republican senator and a Democratic senator, or Democrat senator. And so when I go to Senator McCormick, looked at with press releases, he is very big into AI and education. And so while I realize that as a Republican, he's probably not going to be aligned with some of the things that we're talking about, we can at least find some common ground in what he is interested in. And my job is to tie that into what we're advocating for. So to help him make that connection, that's what you're wanting to do, is to help your congressperson, whether a senator or representative, make the connection to English language learners, English language teaching, bilingual, multilingual education. That's what you want to make that connection with. So do your homework in that, make sure that know your own setting. If you're K through 12 and you're talking with your representative, how many English learners are in your district? Do you know? I'll be sending out some information to help you with that research, so don't worry. You could always go to ChatGPT or Claude or Grok or something and find out, but we'll also be sending you some resources and tools to help you do that homework. Also network and share with your peers. Some of you will have the opportunity to be with other individuals from your state, maybe even from your district. That's always exciting to have that. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. I saw that. Alan. Okay. I'm sorry. I just looked at chat, realized there's some questions in there. Thank you for that. And then utilize the My TESOL space. That I'm actually changing. That was 2025. We're going to make it a little bit easier. People had difficulty getting into My TESOL, so we're going to make it a little bit easier for that. So I'm going to get a different group set up. So ignore that part on that. You'll see later. We'll talk about how I'm going to be distributing that information. So quickly, let's talk. Before we go into the details. Effective advocacy. These are nice sayings here. It's organized action. It's educating elected officials. It's establishing relationships. Well, it is all of those things, but it's more importantly, it's your voice. It's your story that gives a face to policy. So when we're talking about education policy, we're talking about federal legislation, we're talking about appropriations. It's, we can say, oh, Title III is, we want $890 million. Adult education, we want $810 million. Well, what does that actually mean? And so when you go to the Hill, your story, the story of your students, that really is the key to effective advocacy. So you are, that second part, you're educating elected officials. You're giving them your story. You're saying this federal policy, these federal monies, this federal legislation is impactful. It is important. And look at the success because of these programs, because of the policy and legislation. So really that in a nutshell is effective advocacy, is your story. And your story is the foundation, that last part, of ongoing and trusting relationships. My hope is that when you go to the Hill, that you don't look at it and say, I went to the Hill, I raised my voice, I'm done. No, I don't want you to have that attitude. I want you to look and say, hey, I just met Jill or Joe or John or whatever in so-and-so's office. I'm going to continue that relationship. I'm going to email them. I'm going to get a connection to the state offices. I'm going to invite that representative to my program, to my school. That relationship aspect is vital. If your advocacy is only when there's a problem, you haven't built a relationship, and a relationship is really vital in your advocacy. So, just a little bit about effective advocacy. I know Alyssa's on here. I love it when she walks in office and she immediately starts hugging everybody because she's seen them before. She has that relationship with them. And I tell you what, that is so much more effective than, well, you got to spend 5 minutes. Well, I'm so and so. I do this. Who are you? You build that relationship and have that ongoing. So that's so important in that process. So the purpose of the Hill visits, you're developing those relationships. You are informing them about your programs, the challenges that you have, why these things are important to you. Right now, as you are well aware, the president has proposed substantial cuts to programs that support English language education, English learners and families, bilingual education. Matter of fact, I think it's such that he doesn't want to hear the word bilingual education. We have that kind of environment. Well, how can you begin to turn the hearts and minds of those that are opposed to that? Help them to see the importance of what your learners are experiencing. They're contributing of what these federal programs do to their success. Some things there, connect with your work to the legislation. One of the pieces that we'll be supporting is the Protect Sensitive Locations Act. That is an attempt, a piece of legislation to codify the memo that was rescinded to really ensure that our schools are safe places, whether it's elementary, secondary, higher education, adult education, that all of our schools are places where our students know that it is of safety and they can come and learn. So how do you connect that? What are your experiences with that? Make your plea. Lastly, Congress likes to connect with experts in the field. So if you can position yourself as that expert, what's the acronym SME, a subject matter expert, position yourself as a subject matter expert. You are all well on your way in building that relationship. Okay. All right. Next, some things about the scheduling procedures. I am very happy to help you with this. Matter of fact, I am going to be when I send this recording out, I'm going to be sending a template, an email template that you can use to help make your Hill visits. Now, if you are having trouble finding the offices of your representative or senator, let me know. I can connect you. Now, we do have this link down at the bottom, congress.gov, find your member. So you can easily find your member. You can make a call. You can email. I'll send you a template for the email, but be persistent. And when you call, one thing, if you haven't called before, one of the key things, most of the offices do that. They say, if you're a constituent, press this. If you're not a constituent, press this number. You are a constituent, so always press that, and they are much more likely to answer that. So if you have difficulty, it may take you a couple of times to do it, but please be persistent. And if you need my help, I'll be very happy to do that. We can get you in contact with specific staffers. We'll look for those that are specifically focused on education or State Department, depending upon what areas you're focused on. So I would just ask that you please, when you ask for a schedule to meet on Wednesday, June 24th. And you should email the letter requesting the meeting. I'll send you a template for that. And if you do not receive an email back, then call them by June 15th. And if you don't know the number, let me know. They're easily accessible, but if for any reason you're having difficulty finding it, let me know. I'll get you connected. Most likely, you're not going to meet with your member of Congress. Very rarely do you actually meet with a member of Congress. You meet with staffers. Don't be discouraged by that. Again, like I said, the staffers, I think, play one of the most important roles in our government. They are the gatekeepers to the members of Congress. And you form a great relationship with a gatekeeper, you're forming a great relationship with that office. Okay. Do keep in mind that sometimes meetings can change. I was at the Hill yesterday, and there was one meeting we had, and they changed like 5 minutes before we got there and sent us an email. So these things happen. But be flexible with that. So those are the scheduling procedures. I encourage you to please start now in that process. So if you're listening to the recording, you're not here live with us, please start that process now. Because when you get this recording, I'm also going to provide you a template. You'll be getting that in your inbox tomorrow morning, a template that you can easily use. And if you're having difficulty, email me. I'll be happy to get you connected directly in that case, but very happy to help with that. Hill Visit procedures. We will be providing you some talking points, tips for a successful meeting. We will also have what we call leave behinds. We have a leave behind for K through 12. We have a leave behind for adult ed. We have a leave behind for higher ed. We have a leave behind for State Department funding. All of these. So you leave what you need. You use what you need, and you leave that behind with them. I said so. You will be in a meeting, and you're going to be giving them what we call the ask. What do you want? We want Title III to be level funded at $890 million. We want Title II of adult education to be level funded. We want support for you have your ask, but then the leave behinds will also have some additional information, and then you can supply even more information specific to your district. If you want to supply information about your program, I do advise that you talk with your program first. I don't know. Your program may say you cannot represent us, but you as an individual can go. So you just need to be careful, have that conversation with whomever you work for. So be clear there. We'll provide you the leave behind materials. So make sure you do include information on your school or program, or in some cases, like Alyssa, the affiliate and what's going on there. And I know that Margarita, I know Texas Tabe is going to be there. So I think the president and whatnot. So, the affiliate there in Texas as well. And we will have our affiliate in Texas. So that'll be great. We'll be able to get them together, and they'll get them from all angles on that. And if we're successful in getting into Cruz's office this year, I'm gonna pop a bottle of champagne. So we'll see if we can do that there. All right. So what to expect on your visit? Again, you generally meet with staff. The meeting may last 15 to 30 minutes. I was in a meeting yesterday that lasted 11 minutes. The staffer said, "I'm sorry, but I have a meeting with the senator here and I've got to go." So that happens. So please be mindful of that. Staff may know nothing about what you do in the classroom. Again, you are the subject matter expert, and build that relationship. Let them know how important this is. Find that commonality with them. I always like to, you find information about the congressperson, the senator or the representative, but also take time with the staffer. Ask them, say, "Hey, do you speak another language? Tell me about your experience. Do you have any educators in your family? Well, tell me about your university experience. Did you study abroad?" Build that rapport with that staffer, because it helps them find and connect, find understanding, common ground, and connect with the issues that you're bringing in. So make sure that you're sharing information about TESOL and NABE, your school and the program, challenges and success stories. I will say this, and I'm going to emphasize this in the email I sent out. But last year, one of the attendees had her students write letters to the representative and to the senator. And when she was able to go in and give them letters directly from the students about the impact and about how important this is, man, that was moving. That was moving. I mean, even if you have an office that might be in opposition, they're going to be moved by that. So that's a wonderful way to bring the voice of your students there. And if you have some students that want to come and you want to bring, let me know. Let Margarita know. We'll do what we can to make that happen. But I'd love to have students there on that in that process. So, okay. What to suggest and ask? We always say focus on at least one piece of legislation and on appropriations. So whatever area, we would love for all of the appropriations to be talked about, but at least specific to your area. And then make sure that you invite or extend an invitation to the office, to your representative, to your senator, say, "Hey, next time they're back in the district or next time they're back in the state, we would love to have them visit our school. We would love to have them visit our program. Always have that invitation open. And then lastly, make sure you email, not just give them the physical leave behinds, but email them the leave behinds and say thank you. Offering up additional information, say, if I can be of any assistance, if you have any questions, please contact me and make that promise to be in connection with them. So I think that's always a good thing. Again, back to that relationship building. So the question is, what are we going to be asking for? Guess what? Appropriations is big on the list. That is one of the biggest things that we'll be asking for in this year, because the president's budget proposal, eliminates Title III funding. It reduces Title IIA funding to supporting teacher education. For adult education, it eliminates completely everything for adult education. It reduces Department of State funding for educational and cultural affairs, which provides funding to support English learning across the globe. So we're not, we have global impact in the things that you're doing on the Hill with that. So, we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about specific legislation. Again, the primary asks are going to be focused on appropriations. We will be talking about. We'll have information. Let me say this: we'll have information on the Protect Sensitive Locations Act. We'll probably have information on the Dignity Act, comprehensive immigration reform. These are pieces of legislation that are active out there. And if we have, I will also have, I don't know how many are in the higher ed space, but tangentially related to that is focus on supporting people that, especially when we look at this in terms of bilingual educators, English educators, if they have an opportunity to go actually to another country to learn in that country and bring that skill back, that's called education abroad. There's a bill out there supporting that. Especially for those that don't have a lot of access to that. So we'll have those pieces as well. And again, the caveat, you don't have to support everything. Support that which is closest to you. Okay. English language teaching, bilingual education is at all levels. You do not have to be an expert at all levels. I want you to be an expert at your level and what you're doing. So those things that are important to you. And I'm sorry, we will have leave behinds for each one of these. And on the policy update day, we will go through each of these so that you have chances to ask questions, get more information. I will be sending that to you ahead of time. So if you have opportunity, you can be reading it, doing a little bit of background research on your own. So you won't have to wait until the day of there. Okay. Presenting the ask. I'm going to go through these quickly because we'll be doing this heavy during the policy update. But again, I just talked about it. Presenting the ask, make it personal. Present how it's impactful to you, telling your story. That advocacy, again, back to what I said before, the key piece of advocacy is your story. So make it personal. You are the face of that issue. You are the face of the impact of appropriations, the impact of that legislation. So make it personal. Bring your story. And we're going to talk more about that on the policy update day as well. On the day of the visits, you'll take a Metro or an Uber. Some people Uber. If you want to combine together, that's fine. I always take the Metro. I just find it's a lot easier. It gets me there, and I enjoy walking. But I completely understand we have some people that will Uber to and from. Again, we're going to be focused. You don't have to stay in the Alexandria area. You could stay anywhere you want. I do recommend that wherever you stay, make it close to a metro line. That makes it navigation inside the DC area so much easier if you're doing that. So I know Georgetown is a popular area, but there's no metro station in Georgetown. So just keep in mind if you want to stay in Georgetown, remember there's no metro there, no metro station. Timing, you will be going through security on the Hill visits. We'll see about, remember also logistics wise, if you cannot bring your suitcase into the offices. So sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm catching a plane on the 24th that evening, and so I'm going to bring my suitcase. We're going to try to find out a solution for you. We'll be working on that so that if you are in that case, you don't have to carry around your suitcase because they will not let you in if you're bringing a suitcase. So while I say it's similar to the airport, it's not similar in the sense you cannot bring a suitcase. You can bring your briefcase, laptop, purses, handbags, things like that, but backpacks, but not a roll-on suitcase or anything like that. Again, your visit duration meetings will last approximately 15 minutes, so you need to be quick. You can't just start talking about, oh, what's happening in the district. Oh, have you gone to this? Did you see that show or did you hear it? No, it's not time for gossip. Again, you got to focus in on the issues because we don't have a lot of time for that. So it's a balance of building rapport and making sure your voice and the relationship is built in that. Dress for the visit. You don't have to wear a tie. But please don't come in shorts. I know it's June, it's the summer. Think of this as business casual. I think that's the best way to approach this. But you want to dress smartly for that. So in this case right here, these three, the one with the suit was the staffer. The other three were, I think this was Carolina TESOL that was represented at this time. These individuals from Carolina TESOL. I will not wear a tie. I will have a suit jacket, but I will not wear a tie. Just to give you an idea. You don't have to wear a dress. But again, please don't wear shorts or especially don't wear tank tops, things like that, unless you have a cover for it. Just to be respectful for the offices. They're not going to kick you out if you come in shorts, but we do. Please keep in mind that you're representing yourself, you're representing your program. Maybe if you're part of affiliate, you're representing that. You're representing TESOL. So just business casual would be fine. As much as possible, be on time. If you're running late, make sure that you call ahead to the office, let them know something's happened, you're running late. And so that's always a good idea to make sure you exchange phone numbers in the process there. Stay on message and bring business cards if you have them. If not, get their business cards and follow up with email. They will have business cards there. But make sure that you share your story, share your contact information, and always follow. Oh, and also leave time for pictures. It's always good to get pictures. You want to use that back on your social media, especially I know a lot of the affiliates like to talk about what they're doing as an affiliate back in, on their own platform. So it's a good opportunity for you to promote what you're doing. Okay. Hill Visit Logistics. We'll talk more about that. We don't need to worry about that now. We'll talk more about that in detail. You're not going to remember that anyway if I talk about it now. We'll talk about that in detail when we get closer to the time. But if you're not familiar with the Metro, the Metro is an ease of transportation. It's very safe, very clean. I use it all the time when I come in. But we are going to be, again, the Capitol is. You'll see that on the far right of the screen. There's the National Mall. It has the Capitol. So we'll be there. We'll be near there and getting off at either the south of that for the House or the north of that up in Judiciary or Union for the Capitol. And we'll talk more about that in detail as we get closer to it. But that slide will be in what I send you. So if you want to study that a little bit more, and if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm very happy to answer any questions you may have, no matter how small the question is. I'm very happy to answer. Oh yeah, some other things. I think I told you this. There are restaurants in and around the Capitol area, but there's also restaurants in the office buildings, cafeterias. There's even a Starbucks in the Longworth building. So if you need a coffee, they have a Starbucks down there as well. So just kind of give you an idea of what I actually yesterday I had to take a call from a Senate cafeteria. That was the only place I could find that was halfway quiet. I found a corner and was able to take a call there. So there's opportunity for dining. Just a couple more. I think this last one really tips for a successful meeting. I like to say this. What's that phrase? This goes without saying, but we're still going to say it. Make sure you do your homework, be able to, be prepared for questions. And if you don't know the answer to a question, if they ask you something specific about, maybe it's money to the district or number of learners, and you don't know off the top, don't make up a number. Just say, the response is, that's an excellent question. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. because that's an excellent question. It's an important one, and I'm going to take the time and make sure you get the answer for it. So don't be afraid to say I don't know, but make sure that you offer to get that answer for them. A couple of other things here I think very, very important is those last two on the left side on the dues is to say thank you. Even if you have an office that is not receptive to your message. Matter of fact, there was one office we were in yesterday. They kept looking at their watch, like, I don't have time for this. But we were still very polite, very cordial, courteous in that, because you never know what the next issue is going to be and where your next ally is going to come from. I'll just say that. Always say thank you, be respectful in it, even if you disagree. So just keep that in mind, and always follow up immediately. I was visited yesterday. I've already sent my thank you emails out this morning. First thing I did this morning in correspondence with that. And some of the don'ts are just the opposites of the do's. If they're not, if they're not going to be supportive, don't say, oh, show disappointment and be mad. That's not going to be helpful. Say, hey, I love what we had one attendee do one time. This is, well, if there's an opportunity for us to help you in this, to see our side a little better, we want to make sure that we're keeping that dialogue open. You can acknowledge that, we disagree on this, but I would love the opportunity to help you see our side a little better. And if you have objections, I want to be able to answer those objections for you in that. So again, all of these go without saying, but we say them anyway. Okay. All right. Lastly, final information. A copy of this presentation is going to be emailed to you. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be sending you the leave behinds. When I send you the recording of this presentation, I'm also going to send you the template for the email. So you can go ahead and start reaching out to your representatives and your senators' offices now and making those, getting those meetings set up. My email is on there. I'll put it in the chat just for ease of access here real quick. I just forgot my email. Oh, there, it's right in front of me. Okay. My brain just went on vacation all of a sudden. What is my email? But there's my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out. And again, don't worry about it. If no question is too small, especially if you have not done this before, don't worry about it. I will answer anything. We want to help you in this process and get you ready for it. So I just realized I've talked almost an hour. Wow, it went by quickly, at least for me. For you, you may be asleep by now. Hopefully you're awake. But if any questions before we sign off here?
I have a question.
Yes.
How many, you said you could make meetings with either the senators and representatives. Typically, how many meetings would you have if you could schedule?
Yeah. The hope is this, that if you are the only person from your state, at a minimum, I hope that you have 3 meetings,
Okay.
one with your representative, one each for your 2 senators. If
Okay.
you are coming with other people from the state, and sometimes you may not know, we may not get there and find out that somebody else from your state is also there. Then you can work together with other members of your state to go into more meetings. The only thing, if you have, I know Illinois, for example, usually brings several people. Texas is going to have several people. When you go to your representative, have the constituent of that district do the lead, because the members of Congress want to hear first and foremost from a constituent in that. But now, that being said, that's the ideal. We've had issues where people have not been able to get, I've tried, we've had other people try, we can't get into the office. We're going to talk about that on the policy update and the preparation. Yeah, I got Margarita, you got to log off. Okay, thank you, Margarita. Again, a big, huge thank you. Shout out to Nabe.
soon.
Yeah, a huge shout out to Nabe. Thank you, Margarita. We'll see. But I will say this, what we have done, if you can't get into an office, you still go by the office, you knock on the door, you talk to the people in there, give them the leave behinds. you can do that, and we'll talk through that on that Hill Day. So the main thing is try at a minimum, you as an individual get 3 meetings, one with your representative and then one each with your senators. And then if you have other people, I know Melanie said she wasn't going to be able to come this year, but if you have other people coming from Wisconsin, or if you find out, excuse me, we find out the day of you got others, you can go there. And we'll also open this up. If you only have 3, you're the only person from Wisconsin, and you say, "Hey, I want to tag along with another group too. I've got a 3-hour block in the morning. All my meetings are afternoon." You can go along with another group too. More the merrier. It's always good to do that. To give you an example, I went into offices yesterday where we had three people. I live in Pennsylvania but work in Virginia. Um, we had someone from New Hampshire, but they work in Boston. And then we had someone from the DC area, and the DC area does not have any representation in that. But we all went together collectively to talk to specific members of Congress there. So even even if you just have 3, especially if you have a block and want to join another group, you absolutely can do that. So that's a great question, Natalia. Great question. All right. Okay. If there's any other questions, Alan's coming off.
Yeah, I got a question then. Though, since I'm in DC and there's no representatives, I spent a great deal of time in Oregon. Should I join a contingency from there?
Well, I tell you what, why don't you just try to set up some meetings with especially the senators from Oregon? And I'll have to look. Matter of fact, Alan, could you email me later? I want to look to see if there's any key. I need to look specifically at Oregon if there's any of them, especially the representatives that may serve on some key committees.
Okay.
And I'll check that for you. Maybe we can try to get some meetings there for Oregon. When I talk about key committees are going to be appropriations committees and authorization committees. Sorry, my phone just rang there. Sorry about that. So Alan, if you could email me separately, and I'll see if there's any people in Oregon on key committees for that, or you can look that up. We can look that up and try to do that. But even though DC doesn't have representation, they do have, as a voting power, they still have a representative there, so you can still get in a meeting for DC. But Alan, it also may be an example that you want to join, especially not just Oregon, but if you have others besides you, Maryland, Virginia, that would be good to come into as well. So,
Okay.
Great question. All right.
I'm the other Alan. I was wondering if you had any recommendations of where we would stay, like book a hotel. I mean, I've been to this a number of times. Like one time it was in Georgetown, another time it was in Arlington. Typically, it's been in Alexandria, and that's where I'd like to stay. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah,
Alexandria sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to be Alexandria because we're going to have the policy day in the Hilton there by the metro station in
Okay, good.
Alexandria.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, sometimes people like their hotel chains. I'm a Hilton person, so
Right.
there's several Hilton brands there. I always look for the cheapest one when I go. But I always
Yeah.
tell we do it. If you were coming in and if you want to stay at Alexandria, I was talking with Susan Rutledge from Pennsylvania, Alan. She wanted to make sure that as well. But I've talked to other people. They say, I'm just going to get an Airbnb somewhere, and that's fine too. But so my only recommendation is if you don't stay near there, wherever you stay, be near a metro station to make it
Right.
easier.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Unless you want to spend a lot of money on an Uber.
No.
Ubers get expensive.
No.
So, okay. Great question. All right. Well, again, I just want to say thank you to all of you, and thank you to those watching this recording. And I'm looking forward. We are just a little over a month away. A month and a week away. We'll be all gathered together. So ready to hit the hill again. Now, you may, I think, Alan, of course, last year. Well, actually, almost every year I've been part of it, we've always had it the week of Juneteenth. We moved it a week later because only one I think it was the Senate was in session, but the House was not that week. And the week we're having it, we moved it specifically this week so that both would be in session. you'll get more opportunity for some traction that way. It's always good when they're both in session there. So, okay. Well, with that, I will give you back the rest of your evening, 3 minutes over. Thank you for your time. And looking forward to it. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Be happy to help. Everyone have a great evening.